It's like, it's fun.
44. I'm going to be 40. We're old now. Happy birthday, Allison. She might be.
There's no way. I mean, there's no way. There's no chance whatsoever.
I don't know.
She's never going to watch this, ever. I'm just telling you. And I don't feel bad about it. It's just...
Well, happy Friday, everybody.
Yeah.
We're here. This is the Mythos Pedal Pushers.
Pedal Pushers Power Hour.
Yeah, weekly roundup.
All the stuff.
So we're going to try a little bit of a different format today.
We are? What are we going to do?
Well, that's what you wrote on the thing.
Oh, yeah. We're going to do that. I know.
So we're going to wrap up some of the new gear that came out. There's been a bunch of stuff.
There's lots of stuff.
And then we're going to have a discussion, and you guys will be involved if you're in the chat. So
we're kind of trying to do this because we like doing this more than the regular pedal pushers.
Well, this is just easier.
The regular pedal pushers are hard because you got to come up with a thing, you got to set up time to record, you got to edit stuff a little bit, and sometimes we get busy.
Sometimes,
when we have all
when
these.
You run a business.
When you run a business and you got all kinds of stuff to do, so we're going to try to maybe turn this into what a normal pedal pushers would be. Maybe. So hello for all you people listening on Spotify. This might be the regular show now.
We'll see.
We'll see what happens.
If there's music and then you hear this conversation,
yes,
then you've heard it before on YouTube.
Yes.
And that's okay.
There you go. So how do we want to start? Do you want to jump right into the new gear roundup?
Yeah, let's talk about new gear. Well, first off, how are you? How are you?
I'm great. I ventured outside hatless today.
This is a rare Matthew.
Well, I get haircuts sometimes.
You get scheduled haircuts.
I do, mostly for the beard trim because the beard gets long and I like getting that. And so normally I still just been wearing a hat even right after I get a haircut. And I decided because I want to I decided to see how bad my hairline is today. And I'm like looking at both of us. I'm like, ugh. You have beautiful hair.
I just have thick hair, and now I've got the Superman curl thing going on.
You got it all going on. But it is my wife's birthday today.
Yes,
it's her 40th birthday, and I'm not going to wear a hat when we go out to dinner tonight. So I thought maybe I just wouldn't wear a hat all day.
That's the thing. You have to plan ahead. Like I'll do that if I know that I have nothing going on. Beanie, ball cap.
Yeah.
But if there's a plan, I'm like, well, I can't mess this up. I don't.
Yeah, because then it's going to be like I have a whole thing. I got to plan that as part of my evening. That I have to take another shower. Or I got to do something to try to fix my hair.
Yeah.
And when you've got to get out the door and you got to get 2 kids to bed before you get out the door.
Yeah.
So the babysitter, my lovely mother-in-law, doesn't have to worry about everything. That's too much. So I'm like, I'm going to go hatless today.
It's great.
There you go.
And I'm finally on antibiotics to get over.
You still sound like shit.
I know.
But
it's better.
It's better than it was because you were pretty rough.
I was gross. But I finally realized. Well, the throat thing, I finally got a sinus infection, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Got some antibiotics, so I'm gonna. This is fine. The throat still is a little. Yeah, but I got tea.
I'm kind of loopy for a lot of reasons to not go into. It's a long medical mystery with me that sometimes I get real spacey and loopy. And
loopy for a lot of reasons would be the name of your solo record.
I think, I mean, I'd have to get one of those new Ed Sheeran loopers, which we didn't put down on here, but that's just a masterful segue on my part into talking about new gear after we chopped it up at the beginning of the show.
Right. Well, I forgot I have to. Manhandle this thing. And before we get into it, up at the top of the screen, you can see free USA shipping at mythospedals.com if you use code STREAMY. So just for the weekend.
I like that, STREAMY.
Until
that's funny.
Sunday at 11:59. You're streamy right now.
You're streamy.
You're streamy.
You're so streamy.
What's the first thing we're going to talk about?
We got to talk about the Dave Grohl Epiphone SIG.
Yes.
This is the worst kept secret in gear.
I feel like we always say that.
It's a fun bit. Don't step on the bit, dog.
And I type Dave Grohl, and it's like wife, daughter. It doesn't have.
There's a lot of Dave Grohl. That should be first. Come on, algorithm. So everyone knew this was going to happen at some point. He's been rocking this guitar for a long time. And we're finally here. We finally are at Dave Grohl SIG.
Man, Epiphone's website small, isn't it? Epiphone website be small.
So
but basically, it is the same thing as the Gibson version.
We all knew this was going to happen.
Yeah,
and it is here.
It happened.
There you go.
Let's see. Open image and new tab. Here we go.
Come on.
Ka-chow. Ka-chow.
Gotta tighten this up.
But yeah, I will say that in the photos, in the stock imagery photos, the finish looks mega cheap.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I will agree with you on that. I've seen some photos and I'm like, it looks like an import guitar.
Yeah. But I've seen it in video.
It looks good.
And it looks better. I think it's one of those things. It's like you get some of these guitars under studio lights and they look a little cheapy. But it looks nice.
It's cool. My favorite part is my initial reaction, which I'm sure a lot of people's was that, hey, that's a good price. And $12.99 is not a cheap guitar.
No, it's not a cheap guitar, but really, I don't know.
But they could have put this for $2,000 if they wanted to.
They could have done it for anything. I mean, considering how much the Gibsons have sold for. But, essentially it is just an import version of the same guitar, same pickups, same tuners.
It is the USA pickups too, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's a first Buckers. And, it's neat. I think it's going to be a big seller. I don't know. I think the $12.99 might keep some people from popping on this. But he's got to get a cut. They got to get theirs. It comes with a hard case.
Yes, USA pickups.
All that. Yeah,
that's a lot.
It looks like it has real Grover. Yeah, it's real Grover tuners. And honestly, having played many of the newer Epiphones, I just think that they're worth it. And it's a shame to say this, but I feel like what Epiphone is doing, and if
here we go.
For those that subscribe to Dipped in Tone, you'll hear this again very shortly. But I feel
good thing I don't watch that show.
Yeah, no, me neither. But it's harder. It's getting harder and harder to decide whether or not you should get an Epiphone or a Gibson USA, because I feel like the Gibson USA stuff is in a weird place because I really like the Epiphones. Of course, I really like the custom shop stuff, but I feel like the standard stuff doesn't hit me as hard. And I don't know if it's because you play the Epiphone, you're like, this is a great guitar, and it's way cheaper. So I don't know. There's something interesting.
That is a common topic for us because we've talked about it a lot with the Fender stuff with Ventera,
right?
And we talk about this is that like the lines are being blurred enough to where I really think it's intentional because the future of their business might not be that mid-price guitar. What they want is they want to bump everybody up.
Yeah,
that might have purchased a $3,000 guitar into custom shop, and say. I think there's a lot of that, and then there's a wider market for pricing Epiphone stuff with USA features in in that space where it's interesting that PRS, which I think we did talk about this on this live stream, is trying to get into that $500 market more.
Right. Yeah.
I think Gibson doesn't feel. I mean, I know they have guitars around that price, but I feel like that's not as they haven't been focusing on that lately with the Epiphones with. All the Adam Jones stuff and all the Kirk Hammett stuff, feels like they're trying to push that higher into what the import Korean stuff has been for a while.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I'm just curious, like looking at this, I wonder what the lowest price full size Epiphone is. So, okay, so the Coronet, and I guess. The special would kind of be next for the guitars. Okay, the Warren Casinos. So, yeah, and admittedly, I do think that what you're getting from the Dave Grohl model is going to be a lot nicer than these.
Definitely
$500.
Yeah, I definitely, and I think they're positioning it as because custom shop inspired.
Right,
and they keep saying that.
That's what James told us.
Yeah, our buddy that works for Gibson down at the garage.
Yes.
And he said a lot of it is it's custom shop inspired. That's what they want to push.
Yeah, and I think that makes sense, and I think that's a good position to be in because, I mean, undoubtedly there's thousands of people that want to get a standard Gibson guitar, and that's, I mean, and as they should. It's an aspirational instrument. It's a legend for a reason.
Yeah.
But I think Epiphone's smart to kind of lean into the little bit more high end stuff. But
yeah, I mean, but if it does, you're banking on selling enough of them to sort of kind of make up for what you're losing out on, which is the sort of normal priced USA stuff.
Right.
Because you're adding the tuners and you're adding the pickups, there's starting to be less reason and a reason for not just going with the Epiphone.
Right.
Which what you've talked about a lot, which is like, and I think that is because, you're going to have, it's $1,500 guitars and $5,000 guitars.
Right. Which is wild.
Well, I mean, I'm telling you right now, this is as snobby as you can get. I'm going right in. Captain Snob over here, who's worked for wonderful USA guitar manufacturers, who's used to a high-end guitar. It's kind of hard for me to want to play a USA guitar that's not great.
Oh, yeah.
That's not great, but can I justify the import one? If you get the right pickups in it and you can make it feel good. Yeah, I mean, I'm talking to a guy who has Castadosa, who's played Novos, who's played custom shop Les Pauls that you have, that played your 335, and they're all fantastic instruments.
Right.
It's hard to kind of go into that step down USA-wise, that $27.99 Gibson. They're fine.
They're fine. They're good guitars.
They're good guitars. I'm not knocking it, but
Nick in the comments is saying that the fit and finish seems better on a standard Epiphone. I disagree. I mean, like they're good guitars. They're very well finished and stuff, but I think the whole idea that Gibson can't do good fit and finish is silly. Like all the new Gibson stuff I've seen is
I mean,
great.
we have Chippy.
Chippy was great.
And Chippy was great.
We chipped it.
We did. We made it.
They
chippy.
didn't. There were no. I mean, there's no faults.
There was no faults on that. And I think it's a nice guitar. But if you're asking me right now, if I'm going to get, hey Matthew, you're going to get yourself a Les Paul, I want an R9.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I would wait to get an R9. But would I say get like a Epiphone Greenie? If I could, maybe. Yeah.
Right.
Would I get that over the USA Greenie? Yes, 100%.
Oh, he's saying that the DG and the Epiphone 59 seem better than standard Epiphone.
Yes,
I would agree with that for sure. Yeah,
but that's sort of my point. Is that would I get the Epiphone Greenie over the USA Greenie? Probably, yeah.
I probably would too.
If you're asking me straight up, which one's worth relative to the price? Now, do I want the $20,000 Greenie over both of them?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I do.
Right,
but I can't. My wife would murder me in my sleep if I did that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, next thing.
Yes.
Next thing up on the list here is it's an anniversary this year of POW.
There it is.
The 1954 Fender Stratocaster. So Fender has released kind of a smattering of anniversary.
A smorgasbord
of Strats, and this one, this is one of the few that actually is made like the original 54. The other ones are like a little more wild colors and whatnot. Not as exciting or interesting to me, but this one,
I hadn't thought about it that they hadn't done the 54 that much, because you always see 57, you always see 61, 63, and I was like, well, so we had a fun time with me bothering you and Jeff about what was actually different, in a 54, because I kind of didn't know. Because it's not one that pops up as much as a reissue. So that was neat to see all the little differences between like a 57.
Yeah. This new American Vintage 2, so this is like a $2,800 guitar.
This was $2,590.
$2,590, so it's $2,600 guitar.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's got all the old school spec. Some of the things that are a little different, and this was something that I was commenting on. There you go.
Got to get that in there.
I have to find some pictures on the transition from the headstock to the neck. That's really specific on a 54. The body shape contours are a little different, just ever so slightly. I don't know. Again, I'm more of a Gibson aficionado than I am a Fender, but what you're getting is the classic two-tone burst. You're getting Bakelite covers, a more 54 correct knob. I don't know about the switch tip. The switch tip on a 54 Strat is a little more eggy shaped.
Mr. Captain Plastics over here.
I mean, right. Oh, yeah. Go to mythospedals.com. Use the coupon code STREAMY and get some...
As you prattle on about the plastics on this guitar,
free
weird
shipping
Captain
on plastic. But anyway, yeah, it's a cool guitar. I'm not like, I don't know. It's another Strat. It's hard for me to get
super excited
too
about
excited.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it is interesting. It is interesting that it is. I think someone pointed this out in the comments. A little more expensive than the other AV2s. I think those ones are
Right.
$23.99, I believe. So this one is a little bit more. Ooh.
Let's see here. Let's
Stratocaster.
Let's just find that 61 ratio here. American vintage 2. So 23.
23.
The 70s one's $24.79. Interesting.
You get the bigger headstock costs more.
That's it. There's more wood there.
There's more. Can't argue with that. More wood.
And then there's the 57, which aesthetically is pretty similar. The 54 has more white plastic. The 57's got like some aged plastic, so it looks a little more.
There you go.
Found, I guess.
Sure.
But I don't know. It's cool. It's cool that the Strat's been around for 70 years. It's kind of hard.
70 years.
It's hard to imagine the guitar world without the Stratocaster.
Who wants to?
No. Yeah. Exactly.
It's the staple for a reason. That's cool.
But yeah, I don't know. Not that exciting.
Were people clamoring for this? Are there a lot of Strat heads out there who are saying everybody 57 always represented 61, 63? Where's my 54?
I don't.
Or is it because it's the 70th? You got to do it.
I think it's just that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I don't know.
Yep.
But not too exciting. I know it's a cool looking guitar, but I'm not like oh man, it's gotta get it.
There you go. Let's do the Firebirds next.
Oh yeah.
And we'll do the pod stuff next.
Boink.
Let's go. Let's keep going Epiphone because I actually was really excited about these. I thought they were really neat looking.
Man, okay. I'll turn this website on. How do you find this? Designer? Is that what it is?
I'm Designer.
Nope.
Oh.
Then they not have there they are.
There it is. Sorry, I keep doing that.
So here, kind of hard to see.
Click it and biggen it.
Yeah. So we got the 63 Firebird 1.
Okay.
And the 63 Firebird 5, and these come in a couple different colors. And just like the Dave Grohl, this is inspired by custom. So instead of, let's see if I can enhance.
There you go.
Enhance. There it is.
With that CSI treatment.
Instead of like normal sunburst, cardinal red, white, ebony, you're getting heather poly mist.
Cool color.
Silver mist.
Great color.
And Inverness green, which is cool.
I love the colors. I like they're bright. They're fun. We checked these out over at the Gibson garage.
Mm-hmm.
We took a look. We
saw them. We didn't.
We checked them out.
Yeah.
We didn't play them because we had business.
We
had business to do. But I think they're really cool. It's a cool price. It's definitely when you think about getting another guitar, and you're like, when I'm looking at an import, you want something maybe that's a lot different than your normal stuff. Not necessarily a stunt guitar, but as we talked about, it's not a stunt guitar, but it's a different flavor, and maybe you don't want to drop big coin on something that different for
Bitcoin?
You. Big coin.
Did someone say Bitcoin?
Bitcoin. No, I did not. There's no chance I want to have a conversation about any of that stuff personally. But there, if you want something that's different, Firebird pickup and some vibe, that's a good price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
fun.
I feel it's a little expensive.
Yeah, but it's inspired by Custom Shop.
Well, I think it's cool. Do these come with cases? I believe they do.
I'm sure they do.
Miscellaneous. Art shell case. Firebird, you got to have a case because that thing won't fit in anything.
Yeah. Would you think like $8.99? This would be. It's. I agree that way. But what are you gonna do?
I mean, I think
that's pricey.
Yeah. So the Firebird 5, $1,700.
Ooh.
You don't understand. It's got the Maestro Vibrola thing.
Does anybody like that thing?
I don't.
Does anybody like it? Anybody like that thing?
Yeah, in the comments.
It looks rad.
They look rad. I mean, I had one of my 63 or 65 non-reverse.
Yeah.
And
do people like them?
The handle, I've always heard it called the walrus tooth.
That's cool.
So yeah, but no, they don't really work all that great.
Yeah,
I don't. I would much rather have a stop tail.
Yeah.
I like the frost blue. I think that's cool. And the ember red. I think the colors on the Firebird 5 are better.
Well, they got the red in there.
More appealing. Yeah. It's hard to imagine a Firebird.
I like the heather poly personally.
I don't like the heather. I like the silver.
I do like it because I think that's what I would look for in a guitar like that. If I was going to buy one that was kind of something that would be different, vibey, give me some. I want it to be the color to be part of that, and so I would do that color.
Yeah, I don't know. It's cool.
I like seeing Epiphone's doing some work. Putting
they're
some stuff
doing,
out there.
Making cool guitars, making classic guitars, because it's hard to get. There's not these models aren't in the normal Gibson lineup, and you know, if you're griping about the pickups, you can you can swap out the pickups, swap out all the stuff and make it a little more. But even still, it's got a USA Gibson Firebird pickup. So.
But what about the fretboard? We got a comment about the fretboards not being. Got them Laurel fretboards.
Oh, those Laurels.
Laurel fretboards.
You know, I feel like, Indian Laurel. Yeah. I feel like the selection they've been putting on these guitars. It's a little treatment. It looks
got to darken
really
your
good.
fretboard.
Here,
we got a whole video about that.
Let me get the
Monties. It was just a slow escaping burp.
I want to get the Kirk Hammett.
Oh my gosh. I was right there. I thought maybe I'd have to riff for a second.
No, it's right here. Yeah. So this is Indian Laurel with 2 treatments of the Montespresso.
It looks good.
And people were talking about does it feel waxy?
No.
Like, nope, can't feel it. You really can't feel it when you have your finger on the string. I mean, if you're like, it doesn't feel waxy.
No.
At all. But I
think it is definite improvement.
Oh, it looks great.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about, and this didn't wind up in the video, about how much better it looks under less direct light.
Yes.
Because in the shop we have skylights, we have big hanging LED lights, and it kind of washed it out.
Yeah, it was tough to get the visual to be correct in the video.
Yeah.
Because hanging on the wall, you can definitely tell the difference of how much darker it is.
Right. But, I mean, this is Laurel. So I think you do this. If you get a guitar and you're unhappy with it, but you like the way it plays, feels, sounds, just buy some Montespresso, rub it on there. There's a lot of people that say that you shouldn't bother with that. Just use like leather dyes,
shoe polish.
I don't know. I like using things that are designed specifically for guitar, that aren't liquid. A lot of potential for more of a mess. But I think this guitar, after this treatment, looks. If someone showed it to me, I would just go, "Oh, it's rosewood." I wouldn't even think twice about it. Yeah. So that's that. I'm not bothered by the fretboard.
And it's super rad guitar too.
Well, yeah.
That helps. All right. So there you go. Epiphone, like I said, doing some work.
Epiphone making stuff. Let's get your Lego.
What? God, it's tight.
You just spread wide.
I am man spreading.
So
I spread wide.
The last thing here is
this is very interesting.
Bang. Not the bass one.
What's wrong with the bass one?
Guitar one. There it is. Ka-chow.
All right. Pod Express.
It is neat. After watching like the video on how it it functions, it seems like for me I'd have to be like, wait, hold this to do this, to turn this, to get that.
Yes.
It's a little cumbersome. I would have rather had a few more buttons. Make it just a little bit bigger. Have some little buttons or switchies.
Are you talking about how to like save the presets or?
Yeah, because like then you have to hold the alternate button to adjust the parameters, because you see.
You don't have any. There's no volume or gain.
Well, so all of that is on the knobs.
Yes, and you have to hit Alt to do it.
Yeah, you have to do a secondary function to be able to change the gain, the mid, the treble. I assume this middle knob can. Channel volume.
Yeah.
So everything has an alternate function. Not a fan of. I believe it's a plastic enclosure.
Well, they wanted to evoke the classic pod look.
Right.
Which I don't think was necessary, personally.
Agreed.
I understand why they did it, because that is an iconic look. But I think they've got enough with the HX line that they could have wrapped it in that feeling, and I think it would have been fine. I know they want it. I know this is not HX, this is Pod, which is a different line, but
the big thing that bothers me is this little
what
raised bit for the foot switches.
Why is that?
I don't know. I don't like it. It seems like something that could break.
Sorry.
Easy.
Sorry, my back was starting to get.
It seems like something that could break.
Yes.
But one thing that is neat, it's got like a Game Boy-esque AA battery door on the back. You pop it off, you put your AA batteries in.
I like that.
But I don't know. I think for a practicing utensil.
A practicing utensil. I think anything that's got a good price, $179. We know it's going to sound good because the Line 6 stuff all sounds good. And it has a headphone out. Done. I'm in.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
And it's not a gigantic 1/4-inch headphone out. It's an 1/8 inch, like a normal.
That's very cool.
I mean, who has it? It's so funny because of the iPhone, I feel like less and less people have regular headphones because where it used to be, you'd have the thing and then you had to go to the Lightning, and now everyone has AirPods. So I don't know.
Yeah,
but I think that is more convenient for the average,
masses.
Yeah, average consumer.
But yeah, overall, I'm into it. I mean, there's like use case scenarios where I think for a lot of people this will be really cool. You know, as far as something you can put in your gig bag, and then you've got a practice amp set up wherever you go, and it's Line 6 stuff. So I like the way all that stuff sounds.
Yeah,
so $179 is a great price.
This is like cool. your if you were gigging or touring. Especially if you're just going through front of house or you're micing an amp, this is your fail-safe. You know, you make a preset of something that will be comparable to your setup. So if tubes bite the dust, the amp then you just say, wait a minute, you get your Pod Express out of your gig bag or
cut a blam,
and you plug, ka-chow. I don't know why I've said ka-chow so much. I need to stop.
You're just excited. You're just a big Cars fan.
Life is a highway.
Oh my gosh. Those movies, I don't think they're very good.
I think the first one's good.
It's a little bit slow in the middle.
It is slow, but I think the first one's good. I feel like the rest of them are not.
The second one is
as good.
bizarre.
That's the spy one, right?
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
It's just weird. And the third one's...
It's got Michael Caine in it, though.
It does.
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine. He talks like this. We've all seen the bit.
Even if you haven't seen the movie, you've seen that.
Yeah, you've seen that.
I fell asleep at that movie. Like, I enjoyed parts of it, and then other parts was just like...
Yeah. Cars? You talking about Cars?
No. The dinner, or what's it?
I can't remember the name. The visit? The trip? It's like
whatever.
It's a thing. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay, well, I think musicians use real headphones. Some do.
Yes.
Some musicians make all their music on an iPad and get paid more than all of us. So
if it sounds good and people like it, that's all that matters.
Ain't that the truth?
Take a battery? Yes. This thing takes it's three AA's.
3 AA's, which is funny because it's like it's 9-volt powered, but 3 AA's is only 7.5 volts, so it must something else going on in there. Anywho,
yeah. But I would say, like, you know, I have the big full fat HX Stomp, and I love it. But like, I kind of like use it only like this for the most of the time, and I like having all the features. Like, I just put together, you know, a big preset for a Josh Homme rig, Josh Homme, whatever. Homme. I'm having a great time, but like sometimes I'm like, this is all I want to use it for, and so it's kind of it's nice, you know what I mean?
USB recording. One thing I would be curious.
The trip. See, I got
the trip. That's it.
Talked like this.
The one thing that I would be interested in is, does the Pod Express? Because the beauty of the HX stuff.
Yes.
And I think the Pod Go has this too, the larger one.
Cool.
You can like edit things in the computer, so it'd be cool to have, because you can have a few presets.
If you could edit your presets.
Yeah, just like.
Because then
I much rather do it on the computer.
Oh, I hate. Excuse me. Whoa! Somebody's coming. Yes, I agree, because I never like editing it at all, even on the HX Stomp, and I always just break the computer out to do it. So it would be nice if you could do that on the computer and then take it with you. Somebody buy something?
Yes. McKinley still has COVID. Get better, McKinley. Feel better.
Sorry, McKinley.
What if I said do better?
Honestly, that would kind of sound like you.
Yeah. Do better.
Do better.
Why did you catch that in the first place? Sorry, I'm my father.
Yeah, I was like, that's a little pops coming out.
Yeah, sorry.
Not my pops, your pops.
My pops.
I know, I call them pops. Let's go.
They're all pops. So, I don't know how this is going to work if we transition pedal pushers to this, because like doing this in a live format and like having coupons for free shipping and stuff may not translate well to
we didn't think this through.
We didn't. So we're flying by the seat of our pants. But one of the things we're wanting to do, and we want to get everyone's input on, is kind of this live stream specifically is going to be a bit of a test where we do a little bit of a pedal pushers conversation. So
we're going to try to like smash an episode of the podcast in here because we are lazy.
No, we're not. We're busy.
We're busy. And, but there's stuff that we still want to talk about, but this is a more natural thing for us to do.
Yes.
The live stream. We really like it. But we were talking the other day about new vintage. And the discussion sort of happened with the idea that like what kind of stuff is like what's the newest stuff that is worth money now, that has bubbled up to the surface, that is new vintage, 25, 30 years ago came out. We all know that, the real vintage stuff, the 50s and 60s stuff, and now the 70s and some 80s stuff is starting to be expensive.
90s stuff.
Some 90s stuff. But like what are the newest stuff that has already upticked, and like what stuff that's coming out right now could possibly be the hot vintage expensive shit in the future.
Right. And I think we started with pedals. That was the
it always starts with pedals because that's what we do.
Yeah, I think that's where the conversation began, because of course the Klon is
we never stop talking about the Klon.
Well, we recently a shop in Franklin got a collection of Klons. They got 25.
They got 25 Klons.
From one guy who had all of them and never gigs, never played. I assume he played guitar, but they all have boxes. Most of them have the paperwork.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's quite the collection. And we were just talking about what will be that next thing, and will there be anything of this?
Can it happen?
Current period. And I don't know. I'm kind of the thought that we'll never see anything that skyrockets to that level or beyond.
Well, I came up with a little cheat sheet here.
Okay.
Because that's what I do. I wanted to say, could we create a prediction engine here? Could we come up with a scenario that has to happen that would allow a piece of gear to, burst into the scene 25, 30 years from now, and now suddenly it's worth a ton of money, right?
Right.
And I think
let's define a ton of money, because obviously things things are going to appreciate. Things are going to be more collectible, like the Tom DeLonge Stratocaster. Never in my wildest dreams did I think in the early 2000s that a Tom DeLonge Strat was going to be worth anything more than like $600 or $700.
Yeah.
And now they're a couple grand for an original one, which.
And there's several other signature models that fall.
Right.
And that's part of my parameters here.
Right. But things that have appreciated to a much more
the percentage
exclusive.
Yes. The percentage jump is high.
Yeah.
Relative to the original cost of the item. So really the biggest thing is the confluence of a popular player uses the gear.
Right.
And it's rare.
Right.
It's not made anymore. It's hard to find. That's the pressure and the coal that's going to turn these pieces of gear into a diamond.
Right.
Right. And also maybe it was misunderstood at the time. Right. You can also have that too, where it's like maybe people didn't get it. It wasn't a big hit. People didn't understand. A lot of times that's when somebody brings something back because people start using it and they're like, okay, now everybody gets it.
Right.
And then it comes back. But I really think that's the biggest thing, right? Which is like, will there be a player, X number of years from now that finds a piece of gear that's maybe relatively popular now or low level popular, but then the manufacturer stops making it, whatever happens, and then suddenly, ta-da, here we go. because that's sort of the Klon story.
Yeah, kind of.
Right? I mean, that's for it's simplified.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Klon story. It's like there's tons of artists that are using them or big players.
Yeah,
and they're not made anymore. You can't find them. They're hard to get. They're relatively rare. 8,000.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
just your mileage may vary on if that's rare or not.
Yeah, I mean, is that rare? I'm curious. Sorry, but yeah, I think that.
Oh, hi Corey. I didn't even see that he was on here.
I didn't see him either.
Yeah.
I'm curious if there are going to be pedals that will reach the Klon status, because I think the only things that will kind of reach that sort of true collector mythical status,
pun intended,
will be probably guitars, because I just can't see pedals made in today's era reaching that level. And I'm not talking about like the Wampler germanium tumnus that all this out of nowhere jumps up to like 500, 600 bucks. This is Bad Monkey. It's like those things. I'm so sorry. Sick. Will normalize undoubtedly.
Well, let's do a thought experiment here.
Yes.
It's 30 years from now, and some amazing player has the big box Olympus. They find one, they love it.
Oh yeah,
it's amazing. We made the big box Olympus for a while, big booty Olympus. How many of those did you make?
About 250.
So what if the best player in the world, 25 years from now, has that on their board?
Right.
That will skyrocket in value. If you
that would.
250. I mean, they would be obscene what the price of those would turn into.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very like, I mean, there's no way to predict this because that is a very wild scenario we're talking about.
Yeah.
But that's how these things happen.
Yeah.
And they can ask the wonderful listeners of the show, is there another way these things happen? What are other examples of this?
I think that's the only thing that can really propel something into that.
Or it's a collector's choice Gibson. We talked about those. There's a rarity to those, and if there's an era, even if it's not played by a famous player, the collectors and the people that are in the know and like these things and buy these things say, oh, there's some ones that are out there that are very special, and now those are going to go up in value.
Yeah,
right?
and those were always kind of top tier anyway. Yeah, and some of them have kind of gone so far beyond.
Yes.
What you would ever think a custom shop instrument would do, like pearly gates. If you get an age signed pearly gates, it's $40,000-$50,000.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna go blow my nose.
You're doing great.
I sound like I'm floating underwater right now.
You're doing great. Okay, so that's I'm always fascinated by this stuff. I mean, obviously you can't manufacture stuff. I mean, you could try to do like, hey, we're gonna build some of these and then we're gonna not build them anymore and then hope that there's value to them after a while. But you want to make stuff and sell stuff. So I don't think anybody does that on purpose. But Jamie Brown saying, I doubt such a player will ever exist again. I mean, that is another huge point to this, is that like you have to have players of John Mayer's status.
That's right.
To get there. And it was really smooth, by the way, to get there. And John still came in under the old regime, so to speak, where guitar players in the early 2000s were still getting record deals and he was still getting promoted. He was a pop star. Like, part of the reason why he's still influential in that way is because he was a major star outside of the guitar world as well, and came in when guitars and all that stuff and music and people actually wanted to buy stuff. And, in the early days of the fervor that could exist on a forum.
Yes. And in places where the nerds truly hung out. Because now we're all nerds and we all.
Well, Robert Baker coming in hot with that point right while I was making it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
that
to
absolute,
that end,
yeah.
Do you think there will be? I don't think there will be another player of that status. I mean, hopefully there will.
The funny part about it is that, like, we have such a small window. I mean, think about this for a second. The Stratocaster is 70 years old, right?
Right. Yeah.
That means like 1954. That's like Bill Haley in the Comets, Rock Around the Clock. That's like the early part of like basically all of this shit that we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Popular rock and roll, guitar-based music. I know there's definitely like influential guitarists that came out before that, but this is sort of what we're discussing here. You know, it's you know, who's the earliest guitar hero? Robert Johnson?
No, I wouldn't say. I mean, like, he came later. I mean, like he was. I mean, he existed a long time ago, but his like guitar status didn't really get propelled until much later. I mean, I would argue that
who's the earliest?
It would have to be with television, and Buddy Holly was probably one of the first to drive people to even notice the guitar.
Yeah,
and things like that. So, when the Beatles did Ed Sullivan, like those things, like those.
So we're talking about 70 years.
Yeah.
You know, it's a very short amount of time, and so we don't know how the cycle of popular music and how music's even going to go. So it could all disappear tomorrow, or there could be a generation of people that want analog, and the guitar is an analog instrument plugged into an analog device, and maybe, who knows?
Yeah.
No way to predict any of this stuff, because I don't think anybody would have guessed that we'd be where we're at now. You know?
Yeah, I'm curious to see like what becomes the next highly sought after thing. I think kind of like what Gibson is doing with like the Greenie, those sort of things, like what this Jimmy Page EDS 1275.
Yeah,
I think whatever that turns into, those after that run has subsided will be crazy. And I think those sort of things that have that sort of high profile artist connection, exclusivity, that's where we're going to see the things that will push. But in the future, I don't think we'll ever see stuff that reach the almost god tier status that vintage Gibsons and to a lesser extent Fender guitars have reached. So.
Agreed, and I think that's sort of like that is the interesting part about it, is that like we've got an era. I always think of it, I like to think about it in my head because I'm that way, that it's the 1954 to 2004. That's the 50 years, and like everything that Gibson's doing is sort of sandwiched in between those 50 years as best they can, you know. We kind of died with the last like big rock record to do anything, which is American Idiot, Green Day. And everything after that has been, there's obviously rock records, and there's a million new records that I like. Never saying rock and roll's dead. There's tons of bands, there's great stuff, but like popular culture.
Yeah.
Like breaking through, like there's not as much stuff after that. And so it's it's obviously, if we could figure it out in our industry, the best thing that we could do is engineer somebody in a lab that makes people want to play guitar. That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, but it's just like, we're not mainstream anymore. The instrument culturally is not mainstream. That.
Yeah, I think we'll see. I definitely think we're going to see smaller artists discover stuff, because gear is cyclical.
Yeah.
It's just like fashion and all that stuff.
Yeah.
In music, somebody's going to find something that was made like it'd be like us going to our parents, but look at this, have you tried a tube screamer? You know, they're like, yeah, I threw it away because no one liked it.
Yeah.
There's going to be something now,
and it'll be the Spartan Olympus probably,
and I think it'll be something simple. I think the big things like Chase Bliss pedals or the hologram stuff, I think those really interesting things, while I do think those will forever be sought after and stuff, I don't know if those will ever reach that kind of god tier status, because it seems like all the stuff that reaches that is a little more innocuous, just random simple things that people go, hey, you know, this actually sounds really good, like the Nobles. Nobles did that.
That's my misunderstood gem or hidden gem sort of thing, where it's like there's something that's been out there for a long time or has existed, and we got a good wrestling question. Woo. Man, that's as much as I want to answer that question. Homie has no interest in that whatsoever. But yes, he's absolutely going to turn on Roman. But you know, is there any misunderstood gems that are out there right now that are just normal pedals from a normal brand that is going to be, and it maybe won't skyrocket in value, but it'll become something where people are like, oh, that's something really cool, and then every manufacturer is going to end up making their version of it.
The Mythos Positron.
Hey,
you can get one on mythospedals.com for USA shipping right now with the coupon code STREAMY.
Yeah, Yeah. Bad Monkey. Yeah, I mean, the Bad Monkey thing is a great example of how you can drive prices for a little bit.
Yeah, but what are they worth now? Let's find out.
Yeah.
Let us see.
So one of the things that I've wanted to do, which is, we can't really do it. It's probably not a good idea, and I'll tell people.
Eat a penguin.
I think that might be on the menu tonight at this the dinner Allison and I are going to. What I was going to say is that I think it'd be really fun to get all the YouTubers together, whoever is influential, and try to pick a year of a guitar, like the 1985 Hammers or something, are really great, and see how far we could drive the price up or something like that. Intentionally do it on purpose to try to see how high we can get the price of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be fun. I mean, it's essentially what Josh did with the Bad Monkey pedal.
Well, he wasn't intentionally doing it.
I know, but he did it, right? I think, but I'm that would be interesting to me.
Okay, so it looks like they've dropped down to closer to $100. Granted, they're still just a Bad Monkey, so I don't think people are going to be spending more than $100 on these things.
Hobart, Australia.
Yeah.
So we need to pick a year of a brand. And then say we're going to turn that into the hotness. See how high we can drive those prices.
Isn't that what we should be doing for ourselves?
It's a thought experiment.
Yeah, but yeah, some people are trying to sell stuff for high prices, like these for $500. People will try to sell stuff for anything.
Yeah,
you can see go to Facebook Marketplace and just don't pick a category. Just scroll through and you'll see people that says weird loaf of bread, $20. These sort of things. Yeah, that's just human nature.
As somebody who went through a period like that when I was over running Novo, and we had some crazy times on Reverb, which was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sometimes people are just going for it, and then prices get crazy, and then they always settle back down. It's just how it works.
Mm-hmm.
It's just how it works. So those are just blips. We're talking about long term.
Yeah.
Kind of things. So.
Yep. Well,
there you go.
I mean, we pretty much figured it out, I guess. I mean, what do you guys think are going to be really worth something down the road? And I'm not talking about I saw someone say Gibson Robot Tuner guitar. No, serious. What will really be worth something? Because I never thought the Dave Grohl guitar would have reached the mythical status that it did.
They just didn't make enough of them.
Yeah, I mean, they sold really well. We had them, when I worked at retail. But I never, if I had known that, I was like, well, I would have bought one.
Yeah.
But I honestly didn't like it. It's it's fine.
But isn't that was that intentional that they just didn't sell enough of them, or they just wanted to make them for a little while and that's it?
Probably.
What was the story behind that?
It's probably just
they didn't think it would be an evergreen guitar.
Yeah, they probably batched them and then because I think that was in a bit of a tumultuous bit of Gibson's time.
Mm-hmm.
Was that at the end of Henry's?
I can't remember when those came out.
I'd have to look back and see. So it might have just not really fell into the schedule for production, and then I don't know. Yeah. Sometimes you have to quit when you're ahead too, because if
we sold a lot of these, and who knows how many people. I mean, that's a discussion that we have all the time, which is, hey, we got a cool idea. We have no idea if this is a 200-piece release or if this would be an evergreen, and we're going to sell as many as we possibly can. We have no idea.
Yeah, but it's interesting to see those sort of things. So I wonder what that's been made in the past 10 years or 20 years would really be something like that. That would be, drive the new vintage, whatever that new vintage.
I think solid wood acoustic guitars with rosewood, ebony, and spruce are all going to be highly sought. So that's another interesting part of this is when manufacturers start changing things enough to where there's an original style that people really like. I mean, that always can, if any of the big ones, you're sought after rosewood guitars. I mean, you get a rosewood fretboard on some of these, and there's a lot of stuff. Look at Brazilian rosewood guitars, how much they're worth now, and how big of a deal when you say, hey, there's Brazilian rosewood on this.
Mm-hmm.
That could drive up pricing.
Yeah,
there's something that people always are going to want, and if would become scarcer or the manufacturers can't do it anymore. Yeah.
I mean, depending, it's those sort of things too are harder and harder to sell outside of the States.
Yeah.
So even though that does definitely raise prices up, then you're kind of limiting the scope of what sort of availability that these sort of guitars have. But yeah, I think, that could be something that will, in the future, I do think acoustics are probably going to have to go to some sort of transitional material that will be, or sustainable material that will make sense. And so the high-end solid stuff will probably just be way more expensive. And then undoubtedly drive the price up. But I don't know, will it be exponential? Hard to say. I do think Brazilian stuff, especially if you have a Martin, like a D28 made prior to, I think 1965 is before they switched to Indian rosewood for the back and sides. Like those guitars are just going to appreciate, and they have been. But those trends are not, the trends of collectability and that sort of stuff isn't really what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of like, who ever thought that a Gibson Les Paul from 1958 to 1960 would be worth $300,000? And I think all of that was really due in part to the MTV era and Slash and the people beginning to like wish for a different time, and like will that ever kind of happen for us with these guitars?
I mean, that's always a really good question,
Okay. So let's go through a couple of the questions we got.
Yeah.
Would we ever consider making a preamp style pedal? Preamps are funny. I think people need to kind of reframe what a preamp is. But maybe, but we'll see. Would we ever make a Mutron? Hey Mark, would we ever make a Mutron style envelope filter? Maybe. I don't know. I think that stuff is fun, but also that's not how I play guitar. And I would really have to find something special that felt right for me to go all through the journey of designing a new version of that. Let's see. Old Dan Electro's suddenly next. I hope one of the old Dan Electro pedals suddenly becomes next to the
Fab Tone, baby.
Oh man, the little food series. God, what pieces of junk those were. They sound cool. Let's see.
Ooh.
What would you choose to play Americana if you were making an all Mythos pedal board?
Say currently rocking a Golden Fleece Mjolnir and a Chupin Oracle. So you're already there, dog. Good job.
Yeah, I mean,
keep buying stuff.
Yeah, I mean, for an Americana rig, I mean, honestly, if I had an Americana gig, I would grab some sort of cleanish amp. I would take the Bloomfield or the Studio Sig or the Deluxe if I had to. Have reverb and trem, and I would probably take the Chupa as like my main dirty drive tone. Put the gain real low. Have the Oracle, and then the Mjolnir as a boost in the Chupa. That's what I would do.
There it is.
Squire Paranormal picked up. Some of those actually have but not the Paranormal, the stuff that kind of came previous to that, the Vista series. Those guitars became really collectible, and that was due in part to guys like Omar. He played a Supersonic and At the Drive-In, guys like that.
It happens.
Is Swamp Ash becoming harder to source?
Yeah,
it is. Okay.
Yep.
All that ash in the swamp's getting
just sitting there,
snatched up. Have we ever considered making a pedal inspired by the Big Muff?
Hell yeah.
We have, and we do. The Positron and the Positron Collider are
muffing it up.
They're inspired by the Ram's Head Muff. Are there many lemons with Fender? You're buying a red Telly. You just got to go play them, or have someone that can try it for you.
Yep.
Tuna Melt was a great trim. It was okay.
Whoa! I'm finally able to catch a Gear Roundup live. Hey man! All right.
Thanks for showing up, man. We're glad you're here.
Let's go.
But yeah, I guess that's kind of it. If you have any other questions, just
hit us.
Just send them to us real quick.
We just riff for a second. What are you buying and what are you selling?
Oh man,
we can do that on the regular show. This is kind of a hybrid.
I'm taking.
We just want to remove this gear. Maybe somebody new is listening.
I'm gonna sell Chippy. I like it, but I'm in a. This happens in spring, I think, where I just
sprung.
I'm just done with all the stuff I have. I'm gonna sell a bunch of my old pedals, some of the pedal collection. So yeah, I'm gonna sell that. I'm gonna sell my Ampeg J20, little brown panel clone, blue Strat, SE Mira. I'm selling a lot of stuff.
Mm.
What other movie themed pedals would we make?
What other movies do we hold in high enough regard?
Everyone does a Back to the Future thing. So that's like
I want to do one on Last Action Hero. Very underrated movie. Great soundtrack.
Oh man.
Great script.
Ugh. Sorry
Just
about
a
that.
terrific villain. Love that movie. We should do a pedal based on that.
I'd love
What's
to.
other? Do you have a top 5 favorite movies of all time?
Yeah, but not all of them would be like a prop. You know, so like Shaun of the Dead's in my top 5, but like what do you know, like cricket bat, you know, like
You could come up with something.
I mean, you could, you know, like have a Winchester. It's like a real quick slap back repeat, a Winchester repeating delay, something like that. You know, I'm clever. I'm a smart guy.
Hey, yeah.
But I think an Alien or Aliens style thing. I'm trying to think of movies that have a design aesthetic
that you could co-opt
with props that are like So
totally.
like Blade Runner, you could do something cool.
Yes, you could
Cover it in like weird looking stickers or something. That'd be neat.
Yeah. It's usually sci-fi stuff. Obviously, works a little bit better because there's an aesthetic there.
Hellraiser. I don't know.
Hellraiser, get like a man
box. I don't know. I can't remember what it's called.
The little dudes.
The Mythos Cornetto. Yeah, you could do that. You know, you get a strawberry, a vanilla, or chocolate flavored.
Hi, are there drug dealers in the house? Terrific. Love it. Great. Let's see. Confessions. How do you guys feel about selling gear that was gifted to you? Terrible. Just awful.
It depends.
Just awful.
I mean, I've been put in some weird situations where I'll get something, I'll have it for a while, and Rhett kind of goes through this a lot more than I do, where somebody gives you something and you show it and you talk about it and then it just sits there.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like if you've raised the profile, if you've done your job.
Yeah. What was the point of the gift?
Yeah, but if it's like something like someone like a family member or a friend gives you something, I understand how then.
So
that could be
good because you were working some trades on Facebook, and you always send us pictures of what you're looking at.
Yeah,
and some guy sent you a photo of this Strat that he was trading, and there was the card that was like "Happy 40th birthday," and it was like sitting in the case. I was like, "Man, that's cold." Homie's trying to trade his 40th birthday present.
Yeah.
It was right on there in the picture he took. Just like at least like move the card.
Right. I know.
And I know he probably took it the day he got it on his 40th birthday, but I was like, God damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cold, what's your favorite JCM 800 style pedal for an AC-15? I think
there's so much going on there.
Oh, the Goonies? Yeah, that'd be cool. Like the Key.
The Goonies.
You know? The One-Eyed Willie Drive.
Rocky Road.
Yeah. Rocky.
Terrific.
Trying to get an iconic sound out of an amp that arguably already has a very specific sound.
That's tough.
It is tough. Yeah. And I think that it's a bit of just a fool's errand because I think you're going to chase your tail so much. You're like, oh, it doesn't feel right. You kind of just try to shift the amp you have into giving you that saturation and the feel without changing it. Because the one thing, you'll never get an AC-15 to sound like it's coming through a 4x12 cabinet. And like as much as the Marshall sound is the amp head, the moving of air in a 4x12 cab is such a...
I think that you should just buy a Herculean Deluxe.
Or that.
And it'll sound great.
What am I saying?
That's my answer to every question.
Excuse me for not thinking of it.
We'll be shipping more out next week because batch number 2 is coming. We've got orders from just about every dealer is reordering them for batch number 2, so we're excited.
So excited.
I saw a made in Japan telly at Guitar Center, and the back plate had Happy Father's Day. Brutal. I love that so much.
Oh man.
Man.
We're both just some sad sack sneezy coffee.
I feel terrific. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sweating through my shirts here.
Anyway, well,
that's good.
I think that's it. I think we've covered it.
We've covered everything. It's an hour.
Yeah.
That was a whole show.
But thank you guys for hanging out. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Don't forget the Streamy code.
Yep. There it is.
Top. Yeah.
You use coupon code STREAMY, get free USA shipping.
Yeah.
Just this weekend. So this is March 8th through the
just in case
10th.
When we're popping this on the Spotify, right? I keep wanting to say Shopify.
If we pop it, I don't know.
If we decide this sucks and just
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
But anyway, we appreciate you guys. Thanks for hanging.
I didn't say what I was selling.
Oh yeah, sorry. What are you selling, Matthew?
I'm selling my special. My
that's
PRS
right.
special. It's an absolutely fabulous guitar. I've mentioned it. I think we talked about it last time I decided to sell it. And why? Because I'm getting another Castadosa in a baritone. And with the kiddos around, I have a limited budget. I will buy more PRSs in the future when we are so ungodly rich and famous that we can spend money on everything and be just absolutely just ruin our families with our gear addiction.
Right.
But yeah, so if anybody's interested in that, it's on Reverb right now. You can go check it out. And it's a wonderful guitar. I'm trying to get you to buy it. Or McKinley needs to get over it and buy it because he really wants one.
He can't buy anything. He's got COVID.
Yeah, do better. that'll be the next week's code. Do better.
Oh man. All right.
Okay, let's get out of here.
Bye.
Yeah.